What if I told you the key to success isn't just your brain power or luck, but how well you can read people? This audiobook uncovers the hidden skill of social intelligence. It shapes your influence, connections, and power. Master it, and you'll see the world in a whole new light. Imagine walking into any room and sensing what everyone is feeling. You'd know who holds the power and exactly what to say to create trust and connection. Now, visualize doing this consistently with your boss, friends, or even strangers. That's social intelligence. If you're not working on it, you're already missing the boat. We live in a time overflowing with information, but craving real connections. In a world driven by AI and automated systems, the one thing machines can't replicate, at least not authentically, is our ability to understand, empathize with, and respond to fellow humans. Yet, many of us never learned how to read people effectively. We struggle with subtle cues and navigate emotionally charged situations filled with uncertainty and stress. Instead, we often fumble through our interactions, misreading intentions and missing out on opportunities. We end up feeling out of sync in our relationships and teams. Here's the reality. Just being smart isn't enough. It takes more than emotional sensitivity. The real advantage, the hidden gem for success, is social intelligence. Let's clarify something right away. Social intelligence isn't emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is all about understanding and managing your own feelings. That's personal. Social intelligence, on the other hand, is outward-facing. It's about how you perceive and react to others. It involves recognizing the emotions and intentions behind what people say, their silences, and their body language. It's the unique knack for reading the room, knowing when to talk and when to listen, when to push forward and when to hold back. Social intelligence is what makes some individuals magnetic, while others fade from memory. It's the reason some leaders inspire loyalty, while others deal with disengaged teams. It's why some people effortlessly build strong networks, while others remain unnoticed in a crowd. Many folks don't realize that social intelligence isn't something you're born with. It's not just a gift for a select few. It's a skill. And like any skill, it can be learned and honed. This book isn't going to waste your time with shallow tricks or generic advice. Instead, it takes a close look at what it really takes to master social interactions. You'll discover how to read people accurately, respond with confidence, and make a memorable impact wherever you go. You'll learn the hidden rules that guide conversations, connections, and building trust. Ever felt invisible or misjudged in social situations? This is your chance to change that. You'll find tools and strategies that work in meetings, relationships, job interviews, negotiations, and even tough confrontations. Throughout these pages, we'll explore how social intelligence can apply to both your personal and work life. You'll learn to create an instant connection, deal with tricky personalities without losing your cool, read subtle emotions from body language, and respond in ways that engage and uplift others. We'll take on challenging situations like networking events, first dates, heated arguments, and power plays in the boardroom, showing you what socially savvy people do differently. Get ready to dive into the psychological signals that often go unspoken, but make a big impact. You'll uncover how social dynamics function in small groups and large organizations, and how to find your place within them. You'll gain insights into both what people say and how they say it, from tone of voice to tiny facial changes. Most importantly, you'll leave with practical techniques that don't just help you get by socially, but help you truly thrive. But here's a heads up. Once you start developing your social intelligence, you'll see the world in a new light. You'll notice what's left unsaid in conversations. You'll catch on to how often people speak out of insecurity, fear, or habits. You'll realize how miscommunication can derail relationships, how manipulation can hide behind a smile, and how precious and fragile trust really is. You'll start to see the emotional landscape at play beneath each interaction and learn how to navigate it all. This book is for those ready to break free from awkward moments, self-doubt, and social fatigue. It's for anyone who wants to communicate effectively, connect deeply, and earn respect. Whether you're more of an introvert or an extrovert, feeling ambitious or a bit anxious, climbing the career ladder, or rebuilding your self-esteem, you've landed in the right spot. Building social intelligence isn't about changing who you are. It's about discovering your most influential self. In today's world, that's not just a nice bonus, it's essential. So here's the challenge. What if, by the end of this book, you could step into any room, into any conversation, and know exactly how to connect, lead, and influence? Imagine walking around comfortably in your own skin, equipped with the tools to handle any social situation. If that gets you excited, or even just curious, keep going. Everything you're about to learn will shift the way you think, communicate, and connect with others. The journey to transformation starts now, and once you see how powerful this can be, there's no turning back. Let's dive into the first step, understanding the social brain. Humans are naturally social beings, and our brains don't just think and reason, they're wired to connect with others. This isn't just a theory, it's backed by solid science from years of study in neuroscience and psychology. Our brains have evolved over time, equipping us to interpret feelings and actions in others. This intricate network is what we refer to as the social brain. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of how it works, let's appreciate the scale of social interactions we face every day. Every chat you engage in, every exchange with a colleague, a family member, or even a stranger demands your brain to process signals like facial expressions, tone of voice, body language, and those subtle cues that carry meaning beyond mere words. Our brain's knack for decoding these signals fast and accurately shows just how entwined we are in social contexts. Without this skill, forming connections, whether personal or professional, would be really tough. In this chapter, we'll dig into how our brains handle social information, how they help us bond with others, and how they mold our understanding of the world around us. By recognizing how we're wired for social interaction, we can tap into our potential. Social intelligence is all about improving our connections with each other, our jobs, and our lives. But did you know our social brains didn't just pop up overnight? They have developed over millions of years. Early humans, like all social animals, needed strong ties to survive. Whether in tiny tribes or big communities, cooperation was key. This need for connection has become hardwired into our brains. Over time, humans evolved special neural systems that help us navigate the tricky world of social interactions. The roots of our social brains go back to certain brain parts, like the prefrontal cortex, amygdala, and insula. These areas are crucial for processing emotions, reading faces, and picking up on social cues. They helped our ancestors figure out their social landscape, build alliances, and steer clear of danger. This adaptation was key for survival and set the stage for the sophisticated social skills we have today. One of the coolest features of our brains is something called mirror neurons. These special cells let us empathize with others. When we watch someone do something or feel an emotion, these neurons activate in us as if we're experiencing it ourselves. This connection allows us to truly feel what others are feeling and understand their emotions on a deeper level. Mirror neurons are essential for empathy and play a crucial role in our social brains. They help create the strong bonds and shared experiences that hold human relationships together. Now let's talk about the prefrontal cortex. This area, located at the front of our brains, is pivotal for social intelligence. It handles higher-level thinking, decision-making, and self-control. The prefrontal cortex helps us make decisions based not just on facts, but on social and emotional factors too. It allows us to weigh the social consequences of our actions, choose behaviors that match our values, and manage our impulses in social situations. So when you meet someone new, your prefrontal cortex is hard at work, guiding your interactions. When we talk to someone, we don't just listen to their words. We also watch their body language, facial expressions, and listen to how they say things. Our brain's prefrontal cortex helps us figure out the emotional context of the conversation, so we know how to respond. This decision-making happens in the blink of an eye, showing just how tuned in we are to social interactions. With time, these quick judgments become second nature, helping us move through social situations smoothly. The prefrontal cortex also helps us manage our relationships. It keeps us in check during tough social moments, whether that means holding back from saying something rude or knowing when it's our turn to speak in a group. It helps us grasp the emotional vibe around us and decide the best way to connect with others. This ability to process social cues is what allows us to handle the ups and downs of group dynamics, whether at work or in personal life. Another important player in our social brain is the amygdala, which serves as our emotional alarm system. It detects threats and triggers the right emotional responses, like feeling fear and danger or joy when we see someone we care about. But its job goes beyond just survival. It significantly influences our social interactions too. In social situations, the amygdala helps us decode the emotions of others. When we notice someone smile or hear their warm tone, it tells us they're friendly and open. On the flip side, if someone looks upset or has their arms crossed, it might warn us that they're not in a good space. These quick emotional reactions are key for navigating social scenarios efficiently. Interestingly, the amygdala also plays a part in social learning. It helps us remember feelings linked to certain people or events, helping us grow our social smarts. Over time, as we engage more socially, the amygdala fine-tunes our skill in understanding and responding to the emotions of others. Our learning helps us change our social behavior, making us more in tune with what others need and feel. Deep in our brains lies a key player in empathy called the insula. This region is vital for handling our bodily sensations and emotions, helping us understand how others feel. When we see someone in pain or discomfort, the insula kicks in, allowing us to share in that emotional experience. This process is what enables us to empathize, forming the basis of our compassion. The insula also helps us make social choices by letting us think about how our actions impact others. It plays a part in moral decision-making, guiding us to consider the emotional outcomes for those around us. In this way, the insula is essential for connecting with others emotionally. It helps us recognize what people are feeling and respond in ways that foster empathy and understanding. This part of the brain is key to social intelligence, as it tunes us into others' emotions so we can react appropriately. The brain's social layout is complex but very effective. From the prefrontal cortex, which directs our decisions, to the amygdala, which handles emotional signals, and the insula, which enables our empathy, every part works together to help us connect with those around us. What we've covered is just the beginning of how our brains handle social information. Coming up, we'll look at how these systems collaborate to influence how we act socially. We'll also discuss how we can develop and enhance our social intelligence, applying these insights to strengthen our relationships and achieve success in personal and work life. Understanding the social brain is the first step to mastering social intelligence. By realizing how we're wired for connection, we can appreciate how empathy, communication, and emotional awareness help build meaningful relationships. In the following sections, we'll dive deeper into the intricacies of social intelligence, giving you the tools you need. To really connect with others in genuine, compassionate ways, we need some essential tools. Let's talk about empathy and how it plays a vital role in how we connect with people. Empathy means more than just feeling for someone. It's a rich mix of feelings and understanding. It's the foundation of our social intelligence. It helps us build those strong, meaningful bonds with others. Simply put, empathy lets us step into someone else's shoes. We can feel their hurt or joy and respond in a caring way. When someone shares their sorrow, empathy helps us share that sadness. When they're joyful, it allows us to cheer them on. It's like the thread that ties us together, helping us relate to one another's emotions and experiences. But empathy isn't just one thing. It takes different forms. Sometimes we deeply feel another's pain, while other times we may just understand their feelings without being directly moved by them. Even though it can feel instinctive, empathy is a skill we develop over time, influenced by our biology and life experiences. So let's dive into how empathy works in our brains and how it shapes our social lives. Empathy typically splits into two parts, emotional and cognitive. Emotional empathy is when we directly feel what someone else is feeling. If they're sad, we might feel that same sorrow. This helps us connect with someone who's grieving or anxious because we can resonate with their feelings. Cognitive empathy, in contrast, is about understanding what someone else is going through without necessarily sharing their emotions. It's stepping back to recognize their feelings without getting overwhelmed. This type of empathy lets us connect with others, even if we haven't been in the same situation they're facing. When we face a particular kind of loss, it's tough, but cognitive empathy helps us grasp how that loss may feel for someone else. Both types of empathy, emotional and cognitive, are vital for how we connect with others. Emotional empathy allows us to bond and offer support during tough times. On the other hand, cognitive empathy helps us navigate social situations with insight. By blending both, we can respond to people with a mix of compassion and understanding of the moment. Empathy isn't just about feelings. It's deeply connected to how our brains work. At its core, empathy is a brain function. Learning about how our brain supports empathy reveals just how powerful it is in our interactions. Key areas involved in empathy include the anterior insula, the anterior cingulate cortex, and the mirror neuron system. The insula plays a big role in processing feelings and bodily sensations. It lights up when we see someone in anguish, allowing us to feel their pain as if it were our own. That's why we call it the brain's empathy center. The anterior cingulate cortex is crucial for managing our emotions. It helps us process what we're feeling for someone else and decide how to respond. This regulation keeps us from getting overwhelmed by emotions, which is important to avoid emotional burnout. One of the most intriguing parts about empathy on a neurological level is the mirror neurons. These special brain cells activate both when we do something and when we watch someone else do it. They help us tune into other people's emotions and intentions. So when we see someone smile, our mirror neurons respond as if we're smiling too. And when we notice someone in pain, those same neurons kick in again. Empathy lets us really feel what others are going through. Thanks to our mirror neurons, we share in their emotions and experiences. This ability shapes how we act in social settings. It influences our choices and impacts our relationships in often surprising ways. When we connect with someone's feelings, we're more inclined to do good things for them, actions that not only help others, but also create a sense of community. Take, for example, someone who's upset. Our empathy nudges us to lend a hand, whether it's with comforting words, some physical help, or simply giving our time and attention. It pushes us to care for one another and build understanding. This isn't just about doing the right thing. It's a natural emotional reaction woven into our social minds. Empathy is also crucial for resolving conflicts. When we get what others feel, we can handle tough situations better and find a way to get along. In a disagreement, connecting with the other person's emotions can help us talk things out with kindness, rather than getting defensive or aggressive. It allows us to foster mutual understanding and work together. Moreover, empathy is essential for nurturing relationships. It's what ties friends, partners, and family members together. When we show empathy regularly, we convey that we genuinely care about others and their feelings. This builds trust, loyalty, and a deeper emotional connection. It helps us be there for one another in meaningful ways, creating stronger, more supportive bonds. However, empathy does have its challenges. There are times when we can feel overwhelmed by someone else's pain. This is called empathic distress or compassion fatigue. When we feel too much for others, it can be hard to stay emotionally balanced and respond well. This kind of fatigue often affects caregivers, social workers, and anyone whose job demands constant emotional engagement. Over time, connecting with others can really tire us out. This emotional weariness can lead to burnout and even make it harder for us to feel for others. That's why it's crucial to learn how to manage our emotions and take care of ourselves. Another hurdle we face is the gap in empathy, especially in situations with people who come from different backgrounds or have different views than we do. It can be tough to truly relate to their feelings or needs. Cultural differences might throw up walls, making it hard to understand what others go through. In these moments, cognitive empathy, understanding emotions on an intellectual level, can be super helpful. By actively trying to grasp someone's perspective, even if we don't feel their emotions ourselves, we can still connect with them empathetically. Like any skill, empathy can grow and strengthen with time. Developing it takes practice and awareness. It's not something that just happens. It takes effort to tune into what others are feeling and respond thoughtfully. One effective way to build empathy is by practicing active listening. When we listen to others without judging or getting distracted, we give them the freedom to share their emotions and stories. This kind of deep listening allows us to grasp their feelings more profoundly, which improves our ability to empathize. Active listening isn't just about catching the words. It's about noticing the tone, body language, and emotional signals. Being present and engaged in the conversation really matters. Another method to nurture empathy is perspective taking. This means making a genuine effort to see the world through someone else's eyes. It's about understanding their thoughts and feelings, even if we don't share the same experiences. This practice significantly broadens our empathy, helping us relate to those who are different from us, culturally, socially, or emotionally. Lastly, being empathetic requires self-reflection and self-awareness. By consistently thinking about our own emotional reactions and recognizing when we might not be connecting with others, we can become more sensitive to the needs around us. Empathy isn't just a nice to have, it's essential. Understanding others is also about knowing ourselves and how our feelings shape our interactions. Empathy lies at the heart of social intelligence. It helps us connect with people on an emotional level, building trust, compassion, and mutual understanding. When we empathize, we respond better to others' emotions, leading to positive interactions and stronger relationships. It fuels helpful behaviors, boosts communication, and helps us handle tricky social situations with care and insight. As we've discussed, empathy is a complex skill with emotional and thinking aspects. It relies on important parts of our brain, like the insula and the anterior cingulate cortex. While we're born with the ability to empathize, it's also something we can nurture and improve over time. By working on our empathy, we can boost our social intelligence and forge deeper connections with those around us. Now let's talk about nonverbal communication. We all know words matter, but studies show that up to 93% of communication doesn't even involve words. This includes things like facial expressions, body language, posture, and even the tone of our voice. These subtle cues can send strong messages without us even realizing it. Nonverbal communication is crucial to how we relate to others and operates on a level that often reveals more about our true feelings than we might express with words. Our brains are fine-tuned to catch these nonverbal signals. From how someone tilts their head to their stance, we're constantly picking up on a stream of cues. Understanding these signals is key to building solid relationships, whether in our personal lives or at work. As we dive into nonverbal communications details, we'll see just how essential it is for navigating social interactions, encouraging empathy, and improving our social intelligence. We'll look at different forms of nonverbal communication and the psychological ideas behind them. By learning how these cues work, we can get better at reading others' emotions and intentions while also being aware of the messages we send out ourselves. Nonverbal communication is all around us. It's made up of various signals and behaviors. One of the key aspects is facial expressions. Our faces can show a huge range of emotions, from joy and surprise to sadness and anger. In fact, these expressions are one of the most universally recognized forms of nonverbal communication that go beyond cultural differences. Research by psychologist Paul Ekman shows that people across the globe can identify basic emotions like happiness, anger, fear, sadness, surprise, and disgust just from facial expressions. The trick to understanding these expressions lies in noticing the small movements in the muscles around our eyes, mouth, and forehead. A real smile, known as a Duchenne smile, activates both the mouth and the eyes. In contrast, a fake smile usually only involves the mouth. Picking up on these subtle cues can really help us grasp how others are feeling. Then there's body language and posture. Our bodies say a lot, often without us even realizing it. How we sit, stand, or move can express confidence, anxiety, openness, defensiveness, or even aggression. Open body language, like standing tall with shoulders back and arms uncrossed, signals confidence and makes us seem approachable. Meanwhile, closed body language, such as crossed arms or hunching our shoulders, can show discomfort or a lack of interest. Our posture is also crucial. Leaning in during a chat shows we're engaged, while leaning away can hint at boredom or the need for space. How we position ourselves with others can reveal quite a bit about our comfort level, power dynamics, and emotional ties. Lastly, there are gestures. We often use hand movements to add emphasis to our words or to convey meaning. Some gestures are widely understood, like a thumbs up for approval or a wave for greeting. But the meaning of certain gestures can differ greatly between cultures. For instance, crossing fingers for luck might make sense in one culture but not in another. The frequency, intensity, and types of gestures we use can really shape our communication. Our emotional state can show through our body language. When someone feels nervous, they might fidget or repeat certain movements. On the other hand, confidence can shine through big, purposeful hand gestures. Eye contact is one of the strongest forms of nonverbal communication. People often say that eyes are the windows to the soul because they express so much about our feelings. When we hold a gaze, it can signal interest, warmth, or even dominance. But when someone avoids eye contact, it may suggest they're shy, dishonest, or uncomfortable. It's also important to remember that cultures view eye contact in different ways. In some places, making eye contact means you're respectful and engaged. In others, too much of it can come off as confrontational or rude. Then there's tone of voice and how we speak. How we say something can matter just as much as the words we choose. Tone, pitch, speed, and volume all fall under what's called paralanguage. These nonverbal speech elements can express emotional subtleties. For instance, a fast, high-pitched voice may show excitement or anxiety, while a slow, deep voice often conveys calm or authority. The same words can mean something entirely different when spoken in a different tone. That's why paying attention to how something is said is crucial for grasping its real meaning. Nonverbal communication is deeply tied to our feelings and mental processes. Our brains handle these cues in several areas, like the amygdala, prefrontal cortex, and insula, all of which are key in how we process emotions, empathize, and make decisions. The amygdala is crucial for handling emotions, especially fear. When we notice someone's tense posture or frown, the amygdala quickly judges whether those signals are good or bad. It triggers an emotional response based on that judgment, helping us decide how to react. For example, if we see someone frowning or looking away, the amygdala might read that as disinterest or discomfort, prompting us to change our approach. The prefrontal cortex is really important when it comes to understanding social situations and how we respond. It helps us read nonverbal cues and decide how to behave based on our relationship with someone or the setting we're in. For instance, if we notice someone has closed-off body language, the prefrontal cortex might nudge us to be more understanding or careful instead of coming on too strong or being confrontational. Then there's the insula, which deals with our feelings and bodily sensations, especially around empathy. When we see someone with a sad face or tense posture, the insula helps us feel what they're going through. This link between the insula and nonverbal communication is key to truly empathizing with others and responding kindly. Now let's talk about trust and rapport. Nonverbal communication is a big player here. Trust forms the base of all meaningful relationships, and we often pick up on trust or distrust through nonverbal cues. A friendly smile, a solid handshake, or an open stance can quickly show that someone is trustworthy. On the flip side, avoiding eye contact, crossed arms, or fidgeting might hint at discomfort or even dishonesty. A major part of nonverbal communication is how it fosters connection. When we mimic someone's body language or gestures, which we call mirroring, it shows that we're on the same page. This instinctive behavior helps build rapport and trust, signaling empathy and understanding, which are crucial for making a good connection. Plus, nonverbal cues can boost how effective our spoken words are. When our body language matches what we say, it creates a sense of authenticity. For example, if someone claims they're happy to see you but has crossed arms and won't make eye contact, it can feel phony. But if their words are backed up with open body language, a warm smile, and direct eye contact, the message comes across as genuine and trustworthy. Being aware of your own body language and learning to read others' signals can seriously boost your social skills. Here are some tips to sharpen your nonverbal communication. First, increase your awareness. Start by noticing how you present yourself. Are you showing openness and warmth? Check your posture, facial expressions, and gestures. Are you making good eye contact? By paying attention to your own signals, you can steer how others see you and connect more genuinely in conversations. Next, observe those around you. Look closely at their facial expressions, posture, and tone of voice. Try to pick up on how they feel and what they might be thinking. This helps you tune into their emotions, making it easier to respond with empathy. Also, practice active listening. Nonverbal communication isn't only about what you show, it's about what you take in too. Active listening means really hearing words while also noticing tone, body language, and expressions. When you engage fully, you'll respond in a more thoughtful and caring way. Nonverbal communication is crucial for social skills. It helps us express feelings, build trust, and connect deeply with others. By being mindful of our own signals and learning to interpret those of others, we can improve how we navigate social situations, strengthen our relationships, and communicate better. Understanding the complex emotions that drive human behavior is key. It shapes how we see ourselves and others, how we react to different situations, and how we connect with people on a deeper level. Emotional intelligence has several main parts that work together to improve our social and emotional skills. First up is self-awareness. This is about knowing and understanding our own feelings and how they influence our thoughts and actions. When we truly know ourselves, we can figure out our emotions better, which helps us respond thoughtfully to what's happening around us. Self-awareness also helps us pinpoint our strengths and weaknesses, leading to better decision-making and more appropriate actions, whether at home or in work situations. Next is self-regulation. This means the ability to control our emotions, especially when times get tough or stressful. It's key to keeping our emotions in check and staying composed during conflicts or frustrations. Those with high emotional intelligence manage to stay calm under pressure and think carefully before they act, rather than just reacting based on feelings. Then we have motivation, which is all about setting and pursuing goals that reflect our values and desires. People who are emotionally intelligent are usually more driven and resilient. They keep pushing towards their goals, even when faced with challenges, maintaining a positive outlook and strong determination even when things get tough. Empathy is another essential component. It's the ability to understand and share what others are feeling. Empathy is vital for forming strong connections, as it allows us to support others emotionally when they need it the most. Those with great empathy listen well, pick up on emotional signals, and respond with compassion. Finally, we have social skills. This covers how well we communicate, build relationships, and work as part of a team. Good social skills make it easier to connect with others and work collaboratively towards shared goals. Social skills are all about using emotional intelligence in real life. They help us understand our feelings and the feelings of others, making it easier to handle social situations, resolve conflicts, and positively influence those around us. Emotional intelligence really shapes how we interact with people. It's what helps us connect, manage disagreements, and build strong relationships. At its core, having a good EQ lets us sense the underlying emotions that affect social interactions. This makes it easier to get what drives others, what worries them, and what they need. Think of emotional intelligence as your social radar. It helps you pick up on the tiny signals people give off and respond in the right way. For instance, when you chat with someone, you're not just hearing their words. You also notice their tone, body language, and expressions. These nonverbal hints carry a lot of emotional weight and guide how we reply. Those with high emotional intelligence can easily read these cues, which helps them handle social settings with more confidence. They can spot when someone's anxious, frustrated, or sad and adapt their own actions to be more supportive. On the flip side, people with low emotional intelligence may miss these important signals, which can lead to misunderstandings or awkward moments. A big part of emotional intelligence is empathy, the ability to step into someone else's shoes and truly grasp their feelings. Empathy goes beyond just feeling sorry for someone. It's about connecting with their emotions and sharing their experiences. Empathy is crucial because it helps us build trust, rapport, and deepen our connections. When we show empathy, we create a space where others feel safe to express themselves, which is vital in both personal and professional relationships where trust and communication matter. Empathetic people tend to listen better, respond thoughtfully, and are more in tune with what others need. They're also more likely to take positive actions to help those around them. Offering support and help strengthens our connections and encourages teamwork. Emotional intelligence is key in resolving conflicts too. Disagreements are a part of life, but how we deal with them can change everything. People who are emotionally intelligent manage conflict better. They keep their feelings in check and tackle issues calmly instead of lashing out. They take time to see things from everyone's viewpoint and aim for solutions that benefit all. This ability helps cool down tense situations, leading to open discussions and finding common ground, even when emotions are high. On the other hand, those with low emotional intelligence might get defensive or dismissive, which only adds fuel to the fire and can hurt relationships. By understanding and handling our feelings, we can steer through disagreements in a way that encourages teamwork and respect. Plus, emotional intelligence is essential for building and keeping good relationships, whether in our personal lives or at work. Trust, communication, and respect are the foundation of any relationship, and being emotionally intelligent helps enhance all three. When we're in tune with our emotions, we're better at talking things out, showing empathy, and resolving conflicts in a positive way, which helps create stronger and more lasting bonds. In a work setting, emotional intelligence is invaluable. It allows people to work together effectively, lead teams with confidence, and handle the tricky social dynamics at play. Leaders with high emotional intelligence inspire loyalty and motivate their teams, creating a supportive work atmosphere. They manage stress well and keep their focus during tough times, which helps them make smarter choices and set a good example. Emotional intelligence also plays a big role in networking and forming connections quickly. The advantages of emotional intelligence are wide-ranging and impactful. Research indicates that people with high emotional intelligence often enjoy greater success in their personal and work lives. They tend to have more fulfilling relationships, find satisfaction in their jobs, and experience better mental health overall. This advantage comes from their ability to manage emotions, navigate social scenarios, and create stronger, more supportive bonds. Those with high emotional intelligence are also more resilient when faced with challenges. They can keep their emotions in check during stressful times and maintain a positive outlook. This resilience is crucial in today's fast-moving and often unpredictable world, where change and uncertainty are everywhere. Beyond just improving personal and professional connections, emotional intelligence is linked to better physical health too. Studies have shown that people with high emotional intelligence are less likely to suffer from stress-related health issues, like high blood pressure or heart disease. This likely happens because they manage their emotions in healthy ways, reducing the negative impact of stress. By learning to regulate our feelings, we can lower stress levels, boost our immune function, and enhance our overall well-being. Another significant advantage of emotional intelligence is how it can improve leadership skills. Leaders who possess high emotional intelligence are better at inspiring and motivating their teams, resolving conflicts, and nurturing a positive work environment. They're good at recognizing the emotional needs of their employees and providing the necessary support for success. Research has found that emotionally intelligent leaders gain the trust and respect of their teams, leading to higher engagement, productivity, and job satisfaction. Moreover, emotional intelligence aids leaders in making complex decisions by allowing them to consider how their choices affect others emotionally. While some may be naturally more inclined towards emotional intelligence, it's a skill anyone can develop over time. Improving it involves working on self-awareness, practicing emotional regulation, and building empathy and social skills. Here are some strategies to help you along the way. To boost your emotional intelligence, start with self-reflection. Take a little time each day to think about your feelings, thoughts, and actions. Ask yourself what emotions came up during different chats, what caused those feelings, and how your reactions shaped the situation. Writing in a journal can really help your self-reflection. It's a great way to sort through your thoughts and emotions. Next, let's talk about regulating your emotions. This is a skill you can learn through techniques like mindfulness and relaxation. Try deep breathing, meditation, or even progressive muscle relaxation to keep yourself calm and focused when things get stressful. When you manage your emotions better, you'll react less impulsively and respond more thoughtfully to challenges. Now move on to developing empathy. This is a big part of emotional intelligence. You can grow your empathy by practicing active listening and trying to see things from other people's perspectives. Listen closely without interrupting or judging. Understand their feelings and experiences, and respond with kindness and support. Then focus on enhancing your social skills. These are how emotional intelligence plays out in real life. Work on building connections, solving conflicts in a positive way, and communicating clearly. Be open, friendly, and assertive when you're with others. Emotional intelligence is a powerful tool. It can change how we relate to others, how we handle our feelings, and how we deal with social settings. As we improve our emotional intelligence, we can forge stronger relationships, tackle conflicts better, and find more success in our personal and work lives. Emotional intelligence isn't just about knowing our feelings. It's about understanding others' emotions, managing our reactions, and using that awareness to build positive relationships. By sharpening our emotional intelligence, we can deepen our connections, enhance our communication, and become more empathetic and compassionate individuals. Relationships, whether they're personal or professional, are all about communication. It's our main way to share who we are, connect with others, and navigate the tricky mix of emotions and ideas that shape our interactions. A lot of people think communication is just talking and listening, but it's way more complex. Real communication means expressing our thoughts and feelings clearly, while also getting what others are trying to say. Good communication is key to success in almost every part of life. It helps us build strong relationships, move forward in our careers, and settle disagreements. Without it, we end up with misunderstandings, frustration, and feelings of isolation. This often leads to conflict or a sense of disconnect. By honing our communication skills, we can enhance our relationships, work together better, and handle life's challenges with more confidence. At its heart, communication is a two-way street. It's not just about sending information, it's also about receiving and understanding it. The messages we share can be spoken or unspoken, and both are vital in making communication effective. While we often think of verbal communication, studies show that a huge chunk of our messaging, around 93%, is nonverbal. This includes body language, facial expressions, tone of voice, and gestures. So even when we're silent, we're still sending strong signals to those around us. Being aware of both verbal and nonverbal cues is crucial since they work hand in hand in delivering our message. When they align, communication flows smoothly and engages people. But when they're out of sync, it can lead to confusion and misunderstandings. Effective communication also hinges on emotional intelligence. Being in tune with our own feelings and those of others helps us choose our words wisely, respond with empathy, and listen actively. This means we need to be fully present during conversations, not just going through the motions. Communication isn't just about passively taking in information. It's a lively give and take where both people play a part. Active listening is key to making communication effective. It's more than just hearing what someone says, it's about truly grasping the message. This means you need to pay close attention to the speaker's tone, body language, and feelings, while also keeping an open mind to their viewpoint. When we listen actively, we show that we care about the other person's thoughts and emotions, helping to build trust and a good connection. On the flip side, if we're not fully engaged or distracted while someone is talking, it can lead to frustration, distance, and miscommunication. Communication is made up of many elements: words, tone, and body language, all playing important roles in how we send and receive messages. Let's talk about verbal communication first. It revolves around using words to share meaning. The choice of words is really important as they shape how a message comes across. Words have literal meanings, what they specifically mean, but they also carry emotional weight. It's vital to understand these shades of meaning to communicate well. For example, how we phrase something can change whether it sounds positive or negative. A simple statement like, "I understand," can mean different things based on the situation, the tone, and the relationship between the speakers. The words we pick can either strengthen or weaken our message, so it's crucial to be careful with what we say. Tone of voice is another key part of communication that can seriously alter how our words are interpreted. Tone reflects the emotional quality of our voice, whether it sounds warm, cold, excited, frustrated, or indifferent. A speaker's tone can communicate a lot beyond just the words spoken. For instance, saying "I'm fine" in a flat voice might hint that the person isn't fine at all, while saying it cheerfully in a warm tone suggests they really are okay. Our tone reveals our feelings, intentions, and how engaged we are in the conversation. When our tone doesn't match our words, it can lead to confusion. Being aware of our tone and making sure it matches our message is key to good communication. Body language is one of the strongest nonverbal parts of how we talk to each other. It includes all those physical signs, like gestures, movements, and posture, that show what we're feeling and thinking. Think about it. Eye contact during a chat signals that we're paying attention and showing respect. On the flip side, if someone avoids eye contact, it might imply discomfort, disinterest, or even dishonesty. When arms are crossed, it can come across as defensive, while an open posture can feel more welcoming. How we position ourselves, our facial expressions, and our movements send messages whether we realize it or not. In fact, body language often reveals our true feelings better than our actual words. Now let's talk about active listening. It's a crucial part of effective communication. Many think that talking is the main focus, but listening is just as important, if not more. Active listening means really concentrating on what the speaker is saying, understanding their message, and responding in a thoughtful way. It's not just about hearing words. It's about noticing tone, body language, and emotions too. When we actively listen, we set aside judgment and engage fully in the conversation. This shows respect for the other person's perspective and makes them feel valued, creating trust and connection. But when we interrupt, zone out, or just wait for our turn to speak, we risk pushing the other person away and creating misunderstandings. Key techniques in active listening include paraphrasing and summarizing what the other person says. Clarifying questions and paraphrasing mean repeating what someone has said in our own words. This not only shows that we're listening, but also lets the speaker clarify if we've got it right. Summarizing is about briefly going over the main points of the conversation to ensure we've picked up on the key ideas. Asking for clarification is another important tactic. It signals that we're interested and want to grasp the speaker's message better. By using these techniques, we can really improve our active listening skills and boost our communication quality. Now, let's talk about nonverbal communication, the unspoken part of our interactions. Nonverbal cues like facial expressions, gestures, posture, and eye contact often share more than words do. These cues can reveal a person's feelings, intentions, and attitudes, sometimes even more accurately than what they say. In fact, studies show that up to 93% of our communication is nonverbal, with body language making up 55%, tone of voice 38%, and only 7% from the actual words. Given how impactful nonverbal communication is, paying attention to these signals in ourselves and others is vital. Body language, for instance, can express a wide range of emotions. Crossed arms might signal defensiveness, while an open stance shows we're welcoming. A genuine smile can radiate warmth and friendliness, whereas a frown might indicate anger or discontent. Eye contact is equally important. Keeping eye contact shows you're focused and respectful, while looking away can come off as uncomfortable or dishonest. The way we orient our bodies matters too. Leaning in with an open posture can show interest, while turning away or crossing arms can signal we're not engaged in the conversation. Feeling uneasy can actually help you sharpen your communication skills. To really get good at communicating, you need to work on both what you say and how you say it without words. Start by practicing active listening. Be fully in the moment during conversations and really focus on the person talking. Watch your tone and body language. Make sure they match what you want to express. Notice the nonverbal signals from others too, and try to pick up on the emotions that are underlying the conversation. When you improve your communication skills, you can build stronger relationships, handle conflicts better, and boost your social smarts. Good communication is key to all successful relationships. whether they're personal or professional. By getting a handle on the art of communication, we can connect with others more deeply, build trust, and foster an atmosphere of respect and understanding. Every time we interact, whether through our words, tone, or body language, it's a chance to strengthen our social ties and tackle the complexities of human interactions. By sharpening our communication abilities and practicing active listening, we can connect better, work together, and thrive in a more connected world. Now let's talk about the role of empathy in communication. Empathy means understanding and sharing someone else's feelings. It's a crucial part of emotional intelligence and is vital in how we communicate. Empathy sets truly great communicators apart from those who find it hard to make meaningful connections. Without it, communication can feel shallow, transactional, and sometimes even isolating. But when empathy is in play, it builds a bridge between people, fostering deeper understanding and connections. Empathy allows us to look beyond our own views and see things from someone else's perspective. It helps us listen not just to the words being spoken, but to the emotions, needs, and desires that might not be obvious at first. By using empathy, we can respond in a way that respects others' feelings, which builds trust and mutual respect. Empathy is a crucial skill that goes beyond just feeling sorry for someone. While sympathy is about having pity or sorrow for someone else's bad luck, empathy is much deeper. It means connecting with another person's emotions as if they were your own. But don't worry, this doesn't mean we lose sight of our own feelings or become overwhelmed. Instead, it's about opening up to truly understand what the other person is experiencing. This connection helps us build strong bonds and improves our relationships. On the flip side, when empathy is lacking, it can lead to misunderstandings, frustration, and distance between people. To practice empathy, we need to really listen with our minds and hearts. Engaging genuinely with someone's feelings and experiences helps us react in a thoughtful way, offering support, comfort, or validation when needed. Plus, it helps us solve problems more effectively because we grasp what's really driving someone else's actions or concerns. Empathy isn't just about getting it intellectually, it's about feeling it emotionally too. When we make that emotional connection, our communication becomes more compassionate and real. For instance, when someone is struggling, just saying comforting words can feel hollow if we don't truly understand what they're going through. But when we empathize, our words and actions come from a place of compassion, making it more likely that we'll give the right kind of support. Empathy helps us meet people where they are emotionally, building rapport and trust. It allows us to communicate in a way that feels human instead of just transactional, letting us connect on a deeper level. There are two main types of empathy, cognitive and emotional. Each one plays a unique part in our relationships, and both are vital for creating strong, meaningful connections. Understanding these two types can make all the difference in how we interact with others. Emotional empathy helps us interact better with others. Cognitive empathy means we can see things from someone else's perspective. It's about understanding their thoughts, beliefs, and feelings. This lets us intellectually step into their shoes and see their reasoning. We need this kind of empathy, especially when we're solving problems, resolving conflicts, or negotiating. For instance, if a coworker has a different opinion, cognitive empathy helps us grasp their argument and the reasons behind it, even if we disagree. This understanding leads to more productive conversations. Instead of getting defensive or aggressive, we can discuss things respectfully. In professional settings, cognitive empathy is essential. It helps us collaborate with diverse teams, communicate well with clients, and handle social dynamics effectively. We can engage with different ideas without judgment, making it easier to find shared ground and reach an agreement. On the flip side, emotional empathy means feeling what others feel. It's about sharing in their emotional experiences, joy, sadness, frustration, or fear. With emotional empathy, we connect on a deeper level, allowing us to respond with care and compassion. This is especially important in personal relationships, where it deepens understanding and intimacy. For example, if a friend is mourning the loss of a loved one, emotional empathy helps us feel their sadness and offer genuine support. However, emotional empathy can be tough sometimes. It asks us to confront and feel the emotions of others, which can be overwhelming. So, balancing emotional empathy with cognitive empathy is crucial. It helps us to understand someone's feelings while keeping our own emotions in check. This balance is vital for healthy relationships and avoiding emotional burnout. Empathy plays a key role in building trust. Empathy is crucial for building trust and connections in our relationships. When we show empathy, we let others know we understand their feelings and care about their well-being. This creates a safe space where people can share their thoughts without worrying about being judged or rejected. Trust is the bedrock of strong relationships, and empathy is a vital part of that foundation. When someone feels seen and appreciated, they are more likely to open up, be honest, and communicate deeply. On the flip side, a lack of empathy can make communication tough, leading to misunderstandings, frustration, and distance. Empathy gives a sense of belonging. When someone knows their feelings are acknowledged, they feel more connected and trusting. This is particularly important in personal relationships, where emotional closeness builds lasting ties. Empathy creates an atmosphere where both people can be open, share their thoughts, and engage in genuine conversations. In the workplace, it boosts teamwork too. When colleagues empathize with each other, they are more inclined to help, work together on challenges, and foster a positive environment. This connection can enhance productivity, creativity, and overall job satisfaction. Empathy also plays a key role in resolving conflicts. When we understand the emotions and viewpoints of others, we can handle disagreements better and find solutions that work for everyone. Instead of focusing on who's right, empathy allows us to listen openly and seek understanding. It shifts our approach to conflict from confrontation to collaboration, often leading to better outcomes. Empathy helps us identify the emotional needs driving a conflict, enabling us to address them with compassion and constructive dialogue. So how can we grow our empathy in daily life? While some folks might find it comes naturally, empathy is a skill we can develop with practice. To really connect with others, we need to be intentional about how we engage with them. It's all about making an effort to understand their feelings and viewpoints. Here are some simple strategies to build empathy in our daily interactions. First up, practice active listening. This is one of the best ways to show you care. Active listening means you're fully tuned in to what the other person is saying. Pay attention to their words, their tone, and their body language. Avoid jumping in with judgments or unsolicited advice. When you listen closely, you show that you value their thoughts and feelings, which builds trust and connection. Next, try to put yourself in their shoes. Empathy means stepping outside your own perspective and thinking about what others might be going through. When talking with someone, ask yourself how they might be feeling or what they're experiencing. This helps you understand their point of view better and respond more kindly. Another key point is to validate their emotions. Sometimes the best way to show empathy is simply to acknowledge how someone feels. For example, if a friend is upset, saying something like, "I see you're really frustrated," shows you respect their feelings. Validating emotions helps people feel heard, which strengthens your relationship. Being present is also crucial. Make sure you're fully engaged when talking to someone. Put away distractions like your phone and focus entirely on them. When you're present, it shows that you care and want to understand them better. Lastly, express compassion and support. Empathy is not just about understanding. It's also about responding with kindness. Offer encouraging words, comfort, or a helping hand. Whether it's just being there to listen or saying something nice, showing compassion really helps to strengthen your connection with others. Now, while building empathy is important, it's not always easy. There can be challenges that make it tough to connect with others emotionally, but don't let that hold you back. When we're worn out or feeling overwhelmed, it gets tough to show empathy to others. In those moments, it's crucial to take care of ourselves and set clear boundaries to keep our emotional health in check. Plus, we often carry hidden biases or assumptions that block our understanding of people, especially those from different backgrounds. To break through these biases, we need to stay open-minded, curious, and ready to question our own beliefs. This effort helps us grow our empathy and forge deeper connections with others. Empathy is really at the core of good communication and social skills. It helps us build trust, deepen understanding, and create meaningful relationships, whether they're personal or professional. With empathy, we can navigate the ups and downs of human interactions with kindness. By actively listening, stepping into someone else's shoes, and responding with support, we enhance our ability to communicate effectively. Understanding our emotions is the first step to mastering emotional regulation. To manage how we feel, we need to clearly identify and understand our emotions. It's not just about naming them like anger or joy. It's about digging deeper to find out what triggers them in the stories we tell ourselves. When we feel hurt in a conversation, are we reacting to what someone said, or are we dealing with an old wound? When we suddenly pull away emotionally, is it because we're uninterested, or do we feel unsafe? Gaining this emotional awareness takes regular reflection and a willingness to explore our feelings without getting defensive. In social situations, especially those that have high stakes or emotional weight, being self-aware acts as our guiding compass. Without it, we risk acting impulsively, misinterpreting others' intentions, and responding in ways that could harm our relationships instead of helping them. It gives us the power to take a moment, think things through, and respond with purpose instead of just reacting out of pure emotion. Emotional regulation isn't about stuffing our feelings down or acting like they don't exist. It's about managing how we respond emotionally so that our reactions fit the situation and align with what we want to achieve. This means we need to understand our emotions and know how to express them, finding healthy ways to deal with them. Sometimes it could mean taking a deep breath before we say something in the heat of the moment, or waiting a bit before we respond when we're feeling triggered. It might also mean sharing our disappointment without placing blame, or standing firm with confidence instead of resorting to passive-aggressive behavior. Good emotional regulation can involve changing our negative thoughts, getting active to shake off stress, or practicing mindfulness to keep us anchored in the here and now. The more we practice these skills, the easier they become. Our emotions won't control us anymore. Instead, we'll see them as signals that help us navigate our interactions. When it comes to conflicts, because they will happen in any important relationship, emotional regulation is a crucial skill. In those charged moments, it's tempting to defend ourselves, lash out, or shut down. Those reactions are natural and come from our stress response. But without managing our emotions, things often escalate instead of getting resolved. When we regulate our feelings, we can stay calm under pressure, think clearly, and respond more thoughtfully. Picture a heated argument with a friend. When one person raises their voice, it's natural to either shout back or shut down. But with practice, we can choose a different approach, maybe by lowering our voice, naming the feeling in the room, or expressing a wish to find common ground. This doesn't mean ignoring our frustration or needs. It means being purposeful in how we handle the situation. When one person in a conflict can keep their emotions in check, it helps ease the tension. It opens the door for a calmer, more productive conversation. This can help maintain relationships, heal rifts, and foster mutual respect over time. One key part of emotional regulation is building the ability to tolerate uncomfortable feelings. This means being able to sit with those emotions without rushing to fix or escape from them. In social situations, this skill is crucial. Conversations can be uncomfortable. Confrontations can feel awkward. Asking for what we need can make us vulnerable. Seeing someone in pain can be sad. If we can't handle these feelings, we might dodge important talks, give shallow replies, or disconnect emotionally. But emotional tolerance means we can stay with discomfort long enough to work through it, not just bypass it. Take, for example, if a colleague critiques our work in a meeting. Our first reaction might be embarrassment or defensiveness. But with emotional tolerance, we can hold on to that discomfort, remind ourselves it won't last, and respond in a way that keeps the relationship strong. We might thank them for their feedback and show we want to improve. As we build this tolerance, we become less fearful of tough emotions and more skilled at dealing with them gracefully. This boosts our emotional resilience and helps us communicate more maturely. Regulating our emotions also enhances how we connect with others. It's not just about handling our own feelings. It deeply affects how we engage with the people around us. When our emotions are all over the place, it can be hard to truly focus on someone else's experience. Emotional regulation creates space inside us, a space for listening, being curious, and showing empathy. If we walk into a conversation feeling anxious and focused on ourselves, we might miss the subtle signs that the other person is upset or struggling. We could see their responses only through the filter of our stress instead of truly understanding them. But when we're calm and grounded, we can be fully present. We can tune into how the other person speaks, pick up on changes in their tone, and connect with their emotions. Behind what people say, there's a presence that's truly a gift. It communicates, I see you, I'm here, I care. This is where empathy and connection really start. Without this, we often react defensively or project our own issues. But when we tune in, we respond with understanding and care. Emotional control is crucial, especially when dealing with power dynamics. Whether you're a leader, mentor, parent, or negotiating, how you manage your emotions matters. If a manager snaps at an employee, it can crush morale for days. A parent who erupts in anger can leave deep scars. On the flip side, when leaders keep their emotions in check, they show maturity and set a tone of respect and safety. In these situations, emotional regulation means staying calm when provoked, giving feedback without making someone feel shame, and leading clearly during tough times. It's about keeping personal insecurities and fears from bleeding into our conversations. During negotiations, managing emotions helps us think strategically. It allows us to assert our needs without being aggressive and to truly listen, even when things get tense. Navigating power means being aware of how our emotions affect others and regulating ourselves to promote fairness, dignity, and trust. The great news is that emotional regulation can be learned. Our brains are adaptable, so with practice, we can change how we respond and build new emotional habits. Techniques like mindfulness, meditation, journaling, deep breathing, and body awareness are excellent for this purpose. Mindfulness teaches us to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment, making them less powerful over us. Journaling helps us reflect on and process emotions. Deep breathing calms our stress responses and creates a safer environment. With time, regular practice strengthens the part of the brain responsible for controlling impulses and making decisions, while calming the part that drives fear and reactivity. Ultimately, we become less reactive and more centered. When we can keep our emotions in check during stressful times, it boosts our social skills, helping us stay calm and effective in our interactions. Let's look at how managing our emotions plays out in real life. Think about romantic relationships. A small misunderstanding can quickly escalate into a fight if both partners react emotionally. But if one person takes a moment to breathe and share their feelings in a gentle way, everything can change. Saying, "I felt hurt when you canceled our plans without telling me," gets through much better than "you never respect my time." In the workplace, if a leader gets critical feedback, it's easy to feel defensive. But if they manage that reaction, they might say, "Thanks for your honesty. I'd like to learn more." And in family life, if a parent faces a teenager's anger, the initial instinct might be to react. But with emotional regulation, the parent could respond with, "I can see something's bothering you. Want to talk about it?" These examples show that regulating our emotions doesn't erase how we feel. Instead, it helps us express those feelings in a way that brings people together and fosters understanding. How we handle our emotions directly affects how we communicate and the strength of our connections with others. The benefits of mastering emotional regulation go beyond just one conversation. It changes how we see ourselves and relate to others. When we manage our emotions better, we become less affected by ups and downs and more grounded in our values. We face life with more calmness, wisdom, and empathy. Relationships shift from being reactive to more thoughtful, moving away from drama and toward deeper understanding. We start to trust ourselves more, knowing we can deal with our feelings in a caring way. This inner trust encourages others to feel safe and valued around us. Over time, regulating our emotions becomes a steady strength, affecting all our interactions positively. There's an invisible conversation happening all the time beneath the words we say. This quiet dialogue often shares feelings more honestly and powerfully than than what we say out loud. Body language is at the heart of this nonverbal chat. It's a dance of movement, expression, posture, and where we position ourselves that gives color to our interactions. How someone carries their shoulders during a talk can reveal their confidence or anxiety. A quick glance can show warmth or disdain. Even a small tilt of the head can indicate doubt, disapproval, or discomfort, even if their words seem to agree. The amazing thing about body language is that it works automatically and habitually, exposing what we really feel to those who are paying attention. People often try to control what they say, but few manage to completely control their body signals. This makes body language a powerful tool for those looking to boost their social awareness. But mastering it isn't about memorizing stiff rules, like thinking someone's lying because they look a certain way. It's about seeing the bigger picture. Truly understanding body language means considering gestures within the emotional backdrop of a conversation and recognizing that everyone expresses themselves in their unique way. For instance, one friend might bite their lip when they feel nervous, while another might fidget when they're bored. Rather than sticking labels on these behaviors, socially aware folks start to notice patterns and ask themselves questions. Is this response typical for this person? Has anything changed in how they're acting? Are their words matching their body language? By approaching people like they're complex stories instead of just characters in a book, we learn a lot. When we focus on facial expressions, shifts in posture, breathing patterns, and how close we stand to each other, we uncover the emotional truths that might never be spoken but are vital for understanding, connecting, and building trust. The real skill in nonverbal communication isn't just recognizing others' body language. It's about attunement, the ability to emotionally and physically connect with others in a way that creates real understanding and resonance. Being in tune with someone goes beyond just copying their posture or matching their tone. It's really about connecting with the feelings in a conversation. When we're attuned, we naturally reflect their expressions, match their voice, and adapt our gestures to resonate with theirs. This mirroring creates a connection known as limbic resonance, where both people start to feel more secure, understood, and linked. Think about it this way. If someone is grieving and speaking softly with a shaky voice, being attuned means you lower your own voice, soften your expression, and create a space that respects their pain. You don't rush to fill the silence with solutions. You just let it be. During intense talks, being attuned might look like holding a neutral but engaged posture, leaning in a bit, nodding slowly, and maintaining eye contact without staring. This shows the other person you're truly present and open to the conversation. What's essential here is that true attunement comes from genuine empathy, not from any kind of manipulation. If someone tries to use body language tricks without real feelings behind them, people quickly pick up on that, and it can seem fake or even threatening. People have a strong instinct for sincerity, and nothing breaks trust faster than when words and actions don't match. On the flip side, when attunement is real, it's like a magnet. The person feels seen, heard, and appreciated, not just for their words, but for their feelings. And in return, we start to pick up on their emotions as well, flowing naturally without needing to plan out responses. This kind of embodied empathy turns our bodies into tools that help us connect better. It allows conversations to happen more naturally and creates a connection that goes deeper than words can express. Now let's talk about navigating the differences in how people express themselves nonverbally. One of the trickiest parts of mastering nonverbal communication is understanding how different people, cultures, and situations interpret body language. It's a big mistake to think that all gestures and expressions mean the same thing everywhere. For instance, in some cultures, direct eye contact is. Confidence and respect can look different depending on the person. A smile might show joy in one situation, but it could just be a polite mask in another. Even within the same culture, people express themselves in various ways. This diversity stems from their upbringing, personality, emotional experiences, and even how their brains are wired. For instance, someone who is neurodivergent might avoid eye contact, not out of disrespect, but because it feels overwhelming. Meanwhile, a person with a history of trauma could flinch at a raised voice, even when it's coming from someone who's just passionate, not angry. To get good at understanding nonverbal communication, we need to be humble and curious. Instead of jumping to conclusions, we should ask ourselves, what might this behavior mean in this person's life? It's important to look for patterns over time rather than focusing on a single gesture. For example, if someone often speaks with their arms crossed, that might just be their usual stance, not a sign they're defensive. But if they suddenly cross their arms during a heated discussion, that could signal a shift in how they're feeling. Cultural awareness is really important too, especially in today's world, where we interact with a mix of backgrounds. The gestures and space we think are normal can mean something totally different to someone from another culture. To prevent misunderstandings, socially aware people pay attention and ask questions for clarity when they're unsure. They learn to connect with both individuals and cultural contexts, understanding that being sensitive to differences is a strength, not a weakness. By broadening our understanding of nonverbal cues across different experiences, we can cut down on assumptions, build empathy, and foster a more respectful relationship with others. This deeper understanding helps us connect authentically and respond appropriately, no matter who we're speaking with. Every person carries feelings that influence conversations, sometimes in ways we don't even notice. It's like there's an emotional vibe in every interaction. Someone might wear a smile but be hiding resentment. Another person could talk softly but have frustration bubbling just beneath the surface. Being emotionally aware means being sensitive and intentional. It's about tuning into others, not just listening to their words but feeling what's really going on inside, especially when those feelings are masked by politeness or distractions. Recognizing emotions involves paying attention to small physical cues, like brief changes in expression, shifts in tone, breathing patterns, and the rhythm of speech, things most people miss. Equally important is the ability to stay calm and centered within ourselves, so we don't confuse our own feelings with what others are experiencing. If we're too reactive or focused on our own emotions, we might misinterpret what's happening around us. True emotional awareness starts with a quiet mindset, one that listens with both the heart and ears. Over time, it helps us notice when something feels off in a conversation, like when what someone says doesn't quite match how they feel, or when there's something important being left unsaid. This kind of awareness isn't about prying or jumping to conclusions. It's about creating a safe space. When people feel emotionally understood without judgment or interrogation, they're more likely to open up and be honest. Emotional awareness becomes a powerful tool, an invitation for truth and deeper connections. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a relational strength. It lets us connect with others on a deeper level, where trust, meaning, and real change can happen. Once we've developed a sense of these emotional currents, the next key skill is emotional regulation. This means managing our own feelings so we can respond thoughtfully, with empathy and composure, especially during tense moments or tough conversations. It's easy to get swept away by our emotions during conflicts or vulnerable situations. Our brain often kicks in with its fight, flight, or freeze response, making it tough to stay grounded. Before we can think things through, we often say things we regret. We might raise our voices, pull back, or get defensive. This happens not because we want to, but because we haven't learned to pause and think before we respond. That pause is key. It's that moment when we take a deep breath, recognize our feelings, and decide to handle things wisely instead of just reacting. This isn't something we're born knowing. We develop it over time through being self-aware, reflecting, and practicing intentionally. It starts with identifying what triggers our emotions, what words, tones, or situations make us feel dismissed, angry, or scared. Once we understand these triggers, we can prepare for them and come up with ways to stay calm. Some techniques might include grounding exercises, like focusing on your breathing, naming your emotions, or reminding yourself of the bigger picture in a conversation. The people who are really good at understanding others aren't those who don't feel strong emotions. They are the ones who can remain calm and collected, even when emotions run high. They know how to express anger without being mean, feel hurt without shutting down, and be passionate without overshadowing others. This kind of emotional control not only makes us more trustworthy, it also makes us more impactful. People feel safer around us when they know we won't blow up, fall apart, or back away when things get tough. In a work setting, this calmness can boost your leadership. In personal relationships, it can turn conflict into connection. In everyday life, it helps us face tough people and situations with courage and dignity. Emotional regulation is really about leading ourselves. It's how we show up as our best selves, even when things get challenging. But understanding our emotions isn't enough. We need to turn that understanding into action, responding to others in a way that's tuned in, kind, and helpful. Emotional responsiveness is about meeting people exactly where they are, not where we wish they'd be. It's listening deeply and responding thoughtfully. When someone shares their frustration, they often don't want advice. They want to feel heard. And when someone is excited, they want us to join in their happiness instead of putting a damper on it. Being emotionally responsive means giving people the emotional support they really need at that moment, which might not align with what we logically think they should need. This requires us to pause our own thoughts and genuinely connect with the other person's feelings, even if just for a short time. It also means tuning our tone, timing, and what we say to match the emotional vibe of the conversation. If someone is really anxious, hitting them with cold facts can feel harsh and dismissive. Instead, a softer, validating approach can help them feel safe enough to open up. On the flip side, if someone is overwhelmed, responding with too much emotion can make things worse. Instead, bringing a calm and steady presence can help ground them. Emotional responsiveness isn't about pretending or just going along with everything. It's about being authentically human and choosing our reactions in a way that honors the other person and keeps the conversation honest. This often takes emotional work from us, managing our own feelings to create a better experience for someone else. Although it can be draining, the reward is huge. When someone feels truly understood and their emotions are acknowledged and skillfully addressed, they feel loved, respected, and empowered. This deepens relationships, eases conflicts, and builds trust. At work, being emotionally responsive can shift someone from just managing a team to genuinely leading it. It creates a culture of respect where people feel comfortable being themselves. In our personal lives, it strengthens the bonds we value. Practicing emotional responsiveness is a continuous journey. Each time we get it right, we add more empathy, kindness, and effectiveness in our interactions. In the end, that embodies true social intelligence, not just understanding others, but uplifting them. What makes these conversations tough isn't just the topic, but the emotions tied to it. There's fear of conflict, fear of rejection, and fear of losing the relationship. Sometimes we just can't find the right words to express our complex feelings. Many of us tackle these moments with a fight or flight attitude. We either dive in too hard or steer clear entirely, but neither of those strategies works well. When we avoid tough discussions, we end up breeding resentment, and silence can eat away at our connections. On the flip side, being too aggressive can lead to defensiveness and heightened tension. To handle these conversations effectively, we first have to recognize how tricky they are. We need to get ourselves ready emotionally and mentally before we engage. Success isn't just about proving a point. It's about maintaining dignity for both ourselves and the other person. We must be intentional in our approach. What do we really want from this conversation? What deeper need are we trying to express? Getting clear on these questions helps ground us. It shifts our focus from just unloading our feelings to understanding one another better. At the heart of tough conversations lies trust and connection. It's less about winning and more about listening well, speaking clearly, and creating space for both sides to express themselves. When we enter with curiosity instead of control, with empathy rather than judgment, the conversation transforms. Tension gives way to exploration, and opposition turns into collaboration. The best conversations, even the difficult ones, become a chance for growth, not because they dodge discomfort, but because we handle it thoughtfully and bravely. And then there's the way we communicate. What we say is important, but how we say it can be even more crucial during tough talks. Tone matters. A harsh tone can turn a good point into an attack, while a kind and genuine tone can make hard truths easier to digest. Framing is all about shaping how we present our needs, aligning it with our intentions, and respecting how the other person feels. This doesn't mean being manipulative or fake. It's about sharing our truth while acknowledging theirs. Instead of saying, "You never listen to me," we could say, "I feel unheard when we talk. I really want us to understand each other better." This shifts the focus from blame to connection, opening up a pathway for dialogue. Building a solid foundation in conversations starts with looking at our emotional tone. What vibe are we bringing in? Are we tense, annoyed, or defensive? Or are we calm and grounded? Our tone speaks louder than our words. People often pick up on our feelings more than what we actually say. If we come in genuinely wanting to understand and to be understood, that creates a safe space. It's a place where both sides feel secure enough to be open. In that safety, the truth can come out without anyone getting defensive. When we kick off a tough chat with warmth and curiosity, we set up a space that can handle vulnerability. In that space, people are more likely to engage, feeling seen instead of cornered. So before heading into a tough conversation, take a moment to check your tone and rethink your message. Ask yourself, is my language clear yet kind? Am I sharing my feelings without blaming? Am I opening the door for dialogue rather than demanding compliance? These questions help clarify our message, not dilute it, so it lands as an offer of honesty and care, not an attack. Listening is where true leadership lies. It creates room for resolution. Many people think tough talks are all about speaking up bravely, but our real strength often comes from listening. Listening isn't passive. It's one of the bravest things we can do in tense situations. It means quieting the urge to defend or rebut just long enough to truly hear the other person's experience. This kind of listening isn't about waiting for our turn to speak. It's about stepping into their emotional space with humility. It says, "You matter, your feelings matter, and I'm here to listen." When someone feels genuinely heard, they won't feel the need to shout. Their defenses lower, their pain eases, and new possibilities can arise, like mutual understanding. But really, listening doesn't mean we agree with everything. It means we validate their feelings, even if we challenge their conclusions. It involves reflecting back what we hear, asking questions for clarity, and keeping ourselves in check, even when their words surprise us. True listening leads the conversation away from conflict and toward connection, showing respect all along the way. Empathy helps us create the space we need for resolution. When it's our turn to speak, we find ourselves sharing wiser thoughts because we've taken the time to really understand first. Listening lets us fine-tune our message on the spot. Often, what we thought was the problem isn't what's truly bothering them. We might realize that our intentions got misread in ways we never saw coming. Those moments of clarity arise when we grant others the respect of being fully heard. In tough conversations, success doesn't come from dodging discomfort. It happens when we face it together. We engage not just with words, but with open hearts and a steady presence. When both people feel acknowledged and valued, even the hardest truths can be shared gently. Hurt doesn't stem from truth itself, but from how we handle it. That's why listening is our most powerful tool for healing. Now let's talk about influence. It's about subtly shaping outcomes with honesty. True influence isn't about trickery or enforcing will. It's about building spaces where people feel acknowledged and understood. This lets them make choices that align with their best interests, and often yours too. It might sound contradictory, but real influence thrives on alignment, not pressure. To influence others well, start by tuning into their needs, desires, fears, and motivations. It's about understanding the inner dialogues that guide their decisions and offering them paths that reflect their values and goals. In every interaction, hidden forces are at play: assumptions, biases, social norms, and emotional triggers that influence how people see you and the situation. By becoming aware of these, you can gently guide conversations toward outcomes that help everyone involved. Unlike manipulation, which tries to win at someone else's expense, ethical influence aims for mutual gain. It's a give and take, not a one-sided deal. To influence effectively, you need to grasp how others view their world. What motivates them? What makes them feel respected or disrespected? Understanding these subtleties lays the groundwork for influencing with integrity. Influence is about suggesting rather than imposing, offering ideas and choices that lead the other person to think and act in a manner that resonates with them. It's important to align with people's needs, even if they're still figuring them out. This is where the subtlety comes in. Influence doesn't come from being loud or pushy. Instead, it sneaks in during quiet moments, like the pauses in conversation or the unspoken hints we drop with our words and body language. The best influencers don't have to order people around. They gently guide them to see the worth of an idea or a solution on their own. This approach is really an art and a science. It takes emotional smarts and clear thinking, along with the patience to lead without forcing anyone's hand. When we influence like this, we let others feel like they chose the path themselves, even if we nudge them in that direction. This is the tricky part. True influence feels the least aggressive. At the heart of it all is trust. Without trust, influence is just manipulation. People won't follow those they don't trust, and they won't change their minds about someone who seems to have their own interests in mind. So, the biggest tool for effective influence is being real. Authenticity isn't just about honesty. It's about being consistent in what we say and do. It means showing up with integrity, without putting on a show. When people sense our authenticity, they're more likely to be open to our influence. This genuine nature needs to shine through in every single interaction, whether it's through transparent actions, heartfelt words, or aligned values. When what we think, say, and do all match up, we send a strong message that we're trustworthy. Building that trust takes time. It's built slowly through little, everyday actions, not grand gestures. The more people see us living by our values, the more secure they'll feel around us. They'll understand we're not driven by hidden motives, but by a real desire to connect and help. But authenticity isn't only about being comfortable. It also means showing vulnerability and owning up to our mistakes. When we admit our faults and genuinely apologize for our missteps, we show others that we're humble. Being humble and self-aware builds trust. It shows we're human, just like everyone else. When people see that we're not perfect but are striving to improve, they feel more connected to us. They're more willing to be influenced by us. Authenticity also means understanding that influence is a two-way street. It's not just about telling others what to do. It's about forming meaningful relationships where both sides grow. When we build influence through being real, we create a trust that helps us handle tough situations, deal with tricky issues, and lead well. It's clear, those we approach are with us on the journey, not just following along blindly. There are subtle ways to enhance our influence while staying authentic. These methods are based on human psychology and work best when used ethically, aiming for everyone's benefit. First up is the idea of reciprocity. People respond better when they feel they've received something valuable. It doesn't always have to be something material. Sometimes it's just giving our time, attention, or even a heartfelt compliment. By starting with something nice, whether it's a kind act or a listening ear, we create a sense of obligation in others to give back. That instinct to reciprocate is built into our nature. Another effective method is social proof. People often look to others for guidance, especially when they're unsure. When we subtly show that others share our views through examples, testimonials, or signs of agreement, it becomes easier for others to see our side. This approach works because we all want to belong. Next is scarcity. We tend to find things more valuable when we think they're rare or limited. By emphasizing what makes an opportunity or idea special, we tap into this instinct. This doesn't mean lying about value. It's about presenting things in a way that highlights their uniqueness or timeliness. And there's more to explore with these techniques, which can further strengthen our ability to influence others. People tend to be swayed by those they see as experts or credible sources. We don't have to know everything, but we can establish our credibility through what we know, our experiences, or what we've accomplished. If we confidently share our knowledge in real-life situations, we become more influential. Next, there's the principle of consistency. Once someone commits to something, they're more likely to stick to it, especially if they've made that commitment public or written it down. This taps into our desire to be consistent in our actions and words. By encouraging small commitments, like saying yes to a question or agreeing on a small matter, we set the stage for bigger agreements later. When we use these techniques thoughtfully and ethically, we can enhance our influence in significant ways. But remember, authenticity is key. True influence isn't about manipulation. It's about showing others the value of our ideas and guiding them toward choices that genuinely benefit them, all while being empathetic, respectful, and honest. Now, let's talk about empathy. It's the foundation of human connection. What is empathy really? It's the ability to understand and share someone else's feelings. It's what binds us and helps people feel heard and valued. But empathy can be misunderstood. It's not just about feeling sorry for someone. It goes much deeper. True empathy means stepping outside of yourself to see the world from someone else's perspective. It's about recognizing their emotions, understanding what's causing those feelings, and responding in a way that acknowledges their experience. The first layer of empathy involves cognitive understanding. It's about grasping someone else's emotions and seeing things from their viewpoint, even if their life is very different from yours. Cognitive empathy doesn't mean you have to agree with them. It's about understanding where they're coming from. It requires us to suspend judgment, listen carefully, ask questions, and pay attention to their body language. To truly connect with someone, we need to gather as much information as we can about how they feel. Next comes emotional empathy. This is about really feeling what the other person is experiencing, but it doesn't mean getting lost in their emotions. It's more about being in tune with what they're going through. This type of empathy helps us bond on a deeper level, since we're not just watching their feelings, we're sharing in their experience. Then we reach compassionate empathy. This goes a step further. It's not just about understanding and feeling their emotions, but also wanting to help ease their pain. When we feel this kind of empathy, we're compelled to take action to support the other person in meaningful ways. Empathy isn't a one-size-fits-all skill. It changes based on the relationship and the situation. In a work environment, it might mean understanding a coworker's frustration with a tough project and suggesting helpful solutions. In a personal relationship, it could look like sitting alongside someone who's grieving, offering comfort without rushing to fix everything. No matter the situation, empathy rests on active listening, being present, and really wanting to understand. It's about connecting with someone on a human level beyond just words and recognizing their worth. When empathy is genuine, it creates a welcoming space where real connections can grow. People feel seen and valued, which strengthens bonds, builds trust, and fosters a sense of belonging. Now let's talk about active listening, which is the core of empathy. Listening well is essential. Without it, empathy can't thrive. Active listening is more than just hearing words. It means being fully engaged and present when someone is speaking. It's about giving them our complete attention, clearing away distractions, and holding back the need to jump in with solutions before they finish sharing. Active listening also involves both verbal and nonverbal cues. We can show we're listening by rephrasing what they say, asking questions, or simply nodding along. Nonverbal signs, like making eye contact, keeping an open posture, and facing the speaker, also show we're invested in the conversation. The very first step in active listening is being truly present. This means setting aside our own thoughts, judgments, and distractions to focus entirely on the other person. To truly listen, we need to quiet our own thoughts and stop planning our response while the other person is speaking. By doing this, we create a safe space where they feel valued. Next, we should reflect back what we've heard. This means summarizing their main points to make sure we really get their message. For example, we might say, "It sounds like you're feeling really overwhelmed with your deadlines. Is that right?" This shows them that we're not just hearing their words, we're engaging with their feelings too. After that, it's important to empathize. Once we understand what they're saying, we can offer emotional support by recognizing their feelings. We might say something like, "I can only imagine how stressful that must be for you. It sounds like a lot." Empathy isn't about solving their problems. It's about validating their emotions. It's saying, "Your feelings matter, and I get it." Active listening means being patient and non-judgmental. It's tempting to jump in with solutions or advice, But real empathy grows when we resist that urge. Sometimes the best thing we can do is just listen and offer our presence. Remember, active listening is a skill that takes practice, but it's incredibly powerful for building connections. When we listen with empathy, we help create an environment where people feel seen, heard, and appreciated. That's the foundation of human relationships. Cultivating empathy can strengthen our connections. While some people might naturally be empathetic, it's something we can all develop over time. To build empathy, we need to practice intentionally, stepping outside of ourselves to understand others. One way to do this is through perspective taking. This means trying to put ourselves in someone else's position, considering their thoughts and feelings. We can ask ourselves, what are they going through right now? How might they be feeling? By doing this, we broaden our ability to empathize with people from different backgrounds, especially when their experiences are different from our own. By stepping into someone else's shoes, we can break down our own biases and stereotypes. This helps us see the world through a different lens. Another way to build empathy is through active emotional recognition. This means really tuning in to the feelings we're experiencing and those of others. Pay attention to their facial expressions, body language, and how they sound. When we recognize what others are feeling, we can respond more thoughtfully, adjusting our words and actions to match their emotional state. It also helps us control our own feelings, keeping us from reacting in the heat of the moment. Mindfulness is key too. It's about being fully in the moment, without judgment or distractions. This deepens our connection with ourselves and others, clearing out the noise in our heads and the distractions from our devices. When we're mindful, we can better understand what others are feeling and show kindness, patience, and understanding. Then there's volunteering or helping others. Both are great for boosting empathy. By doing so, we leave our own worries behind and connect with the struggles of those around us. Serving others builds a sense of shared humanity and helps us relate to people from all walks of life. And we can't forget self-compassion. It's tough to empathize with others if we aren't kind to ourselves. When we acknowledge our own flaws and vulnerabilities, we create the space needed to extend that same understanding to others. Empathy isn't just a skill, it's a mindset. It's about valuing connections and understanding each other. The more we practice it, the stronger our relationships become. In turn, we help build a world where everyone feels valued and supported. At some point, different viewpoints, misunderstandings, or clashing interests can create tension. But here's the thing. Conflict doesn't have to be destructive. In fact, it can actually spark growth, innovation, and even bring us closer together. The first step to resolving conflict is recognizing that it often comes from unmet needs or desires. When people feel their basic needs, like respect, validation, or understanding, are threatened, emotions can heat up. These emotional reactions can cloud the logical parts of the disagreement. So, getting a grip on these feelings is key to resolving conflicts in a healthy way. Conflict isn't just about the issue at hand, it's really about how people feel about it. This is where emotional intelligence comes into play. It's not enough to just tackle the problem. We need to pay attention to the emotions wrapped up in it. If we ignore those feelings, the conflict can blow up, leading to defensiveness, anger, or even withdrawal. But when we stop to understand the emotions driving the conflict, we can dig deeper than just the surface disagreements. Another important point is that conflict often involves different perspectives. Two people can see the same situation very differently based on their personal backgrounds, values, and experiences. Understanding that everyone views the world through their own lens is crucial for resolving conflicts. By adopting this perspective, we can approach disagreements with curiosity instead of judgment. Instead of thinking our way is the only valid one, we become open to understanding why someone else feels the way they do. The real goal in resolving conflict isn't to win, it's to find a solution that respects both people's needs and fosters mutual understanding. Handled correctly, conflict can be a chance for both parties to grow and strengthen their relationship. The next step is to develop strategies that ensure both individuals feel heard, respected, and understood. One of the best strategies for resolving conflict is active listening. Listening isn't just about hearing what someone says. It's about picking up on the feelings that lie beneath their words. To do this, we need to be fully there, resist jumping in too soon, and show we care, both with our words and our body language. When we really listen, especially in a tough situation, we acknowledge how the other person feels. That can really help ease the tension. Often people just want to know they're being heard. Once they feel understood, they're more likely to look for a solution together. Another tip is to use I statements instead of you statements. When we say, "You always interrupt me," it can make the other person feel attacked and get defensive. But if we say, "I feel frustrated when I'm interrupted," we're sharing how we feel without pointing fingers. This small change in how we express ourselves can lower defenses and open up a more friendly conversation. Reframing is also useful. It means taking something negative and turning it into a more neutral or positive way of saying it. Instead of saying, "You're being unreasonable," we might say, "It looks like we have different priorities." This invites understanding and cooperation rather than blame. It turns the argument from a tug of war into a chance to solve a problem together. Finding common ground is key too. In conflicts, there are usually shared values or goals. For instance, in a work disagreement, both people might care about the project's success or the team's well-being. By identifying what we both want, we can lay the groundwork for a resolution. We shift our focus from what divides us to what we can achieve together. Lastly, aim for win-win solutions. Often, people think they need to give something up to resolve a conflict, but a win-win means both sides feel their needs are met fairly. Finding such solutions takes creativity and teamwork. It may mean brainstorming new ways to satisfy both sides or looking for alternative options that work for everyone. Resolving conflict isn't about beating the other person. It's about figuring out how to move forward together. By using strategies like active listening, I statements, reframing, finding common ground, and seeking win-win outcomes, we can turn conflict into a chance for growth and understanding. One of the toughest parts of conflict is keeping our emotions in check. When things heat up, it's easy to let our feelings take over and react without thinking. That's where emotional regulation comes in. This skill means recognizing our emotions and managing them so we can respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. The first step is self-awareness. We need to notice when our emotions start to rise and pay attention to how our bodies feel. Do we tense up? Is our heart racing? Are our fists clenched? These physical cues can signal that we're getting emotionally charged. Once we recognize what we're feeling, we can choose how to respond. A helpful trick for handling strong emotions is to take a pause. When things feel overwhelming, we can take a deep breath, step back, and give ourselves time to calm down. This break helps us gather our thoughts and approach the situation more clearly. It can also stop us from saying or doing something we might regret later. Another tactic is to reframe our thoughts. Often, how we respond to conflict is shaped by how we see the situation. If we see it as a personal attack, we're likely to react with anger. But if we view it as a misunderstanding or a difference in opinion, we'll be more curious and open in our approach. Mindfulness practices, like deep breathing or meditation, can also help us regulate our emotions in stressful moments. They keep us present, calm, and grounded, even during tense conversations. Finally, empathy is key for managing our emotions. When we truly feel what the other person is going through, we're less likely to be defensive or reactive. Recognizing their emotions can help us respond more kindly. By seeing things from their point of view, we open up a place in our hearts where we can react with care and patience. Emotional regulation isn't about stuffing down our feelings or acting like we're not bothered. It's about recognizing what we feel and deciding to respond in a way that reflects our values and intentions. When we manage our emotions during a disagreement, we take charge of the situation. This way, we can work together toward a solution that's helpful for everyone.